Okay, let's move away from there now and talk football matters. And it's all about this man, the big man himself. Liverpool forward Mohamed Salah collected the Football Writers Association Footballer of the Year award for the third time in his career in London. Now, the 32-year-old has scored 28 goals and provided 18 assists in the season, where he has been pivotal in helping the Merseyside club lift the Premier League title. With one game of the campaign remaining, he is on course to finish the season as the league's top scorer. Now, after being presented with this award, which he won with 90% of the votes, Salah described it as incredible and special.
To be fair, like winning the Premier League and had that impact in the team, I think I said that before last week. I never felt that happy or happiness in the club like that moment when we win the Premier League against Spurs, because you have that impact on the numbers of goals and assists. And winning the Premier League after that, great players left and a good manager left. So it's just so special, because I came to the season, and I was like, okay.
Interesting right there, and join us on the show right about now to discuss this and also preview the final day in the Premier League race is Paul Robinson, who ironically is a Tottenham Hotspur fan and is definitely feeling what his club achieved from the Europa League final. Paul Robinson, good evening. It's good to have you on the show.
Hi, how are we doing?
I'm good, I'm all right. Quickly, before we delve into Mohamed Salah and what he has achieved for Liverpool this season, talk to me, how do you feel in probably a sentence about Tottenham Hotspur's Europa League triumph, and how do you think that will propel you guys going into next season?
I mean, I think every Spurs fan at the minute just feel like we're in dreamland. You know, we waited so long for some silverware, we waited so long for another European trophy, and on Wednesday, all the dreams were achieved. I was lucky enough to be one of the few that was out there watching the game live. I was there with my 15-year-old son. We flew in to Madrid. We had a 4-5 hour journey to get up to Bilbao, and then take in some of the atmosphere, and then once the game was finished, we went back, had a sleep, got up, drove back, and I arrived back home at 2 a.m. this morning. And I'm still, I'm absolutely shattered, but we're absolutely, we're buzzing, we're running on adrenaline. And I think now, what this is going to do for Tottenham Hotspur as a club, for the fans, for next season, I think everybody's just going to be, buzzing for it. If you'd have asked me 2 weeks ago, I couldn't wait for this season to be finished, but now I can't wait for next season to be started. It's just elated, absolutely buzzing, dreaming, every word you can think of.
Okay, let's talk about the Premier League. It ends this weekend. We know Liverpool are champions. Everyone we're looking at, Liverpool being crowned in terms of receiving trophy, but it's all about the race for Champions League football for next season. And we know quite well that is indeed an intriguing race, to say the very least. Manchester City did themselves a whole lot of good by defeating Bournemouth to solidify their quest for Champions League football. But you have Newcastle United, there's Aston Villa, Chelsea in the mix as well, Nottingham Forest as well. Everyone trying to jostle for those coveted spots remaining when it comes to Champions League football next season. How do you see it panning out based on the ties we have and the team's chances of making it through?
I think this season, if anything, is proven that anything is possible. For me personally, I would love to see somebody like Forest back in there. I think that'd be a great achievement for them. I think anything's possible. I think you're going to see some changes during the weekend with goals going in, that kind of stuff. But for me, I'm gonna probably quietly cheer on Forest on this one.
Okay, interesting take right there, Nottingham Forest. You don't fancy Chelsea's chances of making it through?
It's not that I don't fancy him. I prefer him not, if I'm being brutally honest. I would much rather see Forest go through than Chelsea, but I'm a Spurs fan, so you'd expect nothing less from me.
Okay, but let's take it this way now, because we also have to take into cognizance that Nottingham Forest, for example, have punched above their weight this season. It's been a Cinderella run that could be capped with Champions League football for next season. But if it's the Europa League or Europa Conference League, it would have still been a stunning season by their own standards. For a team like Newcastle United, with all of their injury woes and even the manager Edehouri being hospitalized at some point, they are this close to making it, for Champions League football. Between Newcastle and Chelsea, Who do you think will be more disappointed if they fail to clinch Champions League football for next season?
I think the most disappointed will probably be Chelsea, because they'll obviously be the kind of, one of the big London clubs that aren't in it, much to my delight. So, yeah, I think the biggest disappointment would be for Chelsea. I think Newcastle, I think, the fan base they've got up there, that kind of stuff, I think it would be, a big achievement for Newcastle. So, and a bigger disappointment for Chelsea.
Okay, finally, let's look at, the race now, not just for Champions League football. Relegation is confirmed already. Crystal Palace are going to Europa League as a result of their FA Cup triumph. Spurs, your club, will be playing Champions League football next season. For the other teams in there, Aston Villa as well in the mix, if they fail to make it through, would it still have been a very good season by all means?
Yeah, I think for any club to get European football is a season, a fantastic season. I think if you ask any of them at the beginning, would you take 5th place, 6th place, and get European football? Every one of them would they would jump at the chance. European football is amazing. The away days, even sitting in front of the TV, watching it, cheering your team on. Any kind of European football is amazing, and again, for us to win the Europa League, to get the Champions League spot as well. I know all the parties going on back in London right now. They've got the parade starting within the next sort of few minutes, I think. Unfortunately, I can't be there, but they're the nights, they're the days that you want, and the Europa League is what's going to give it you the Champions League and the Europa Conference.
Okay, we'll just leave it at that and see what the final day of the English Premier League 2024-2025 season will throw up in terms of intrigues and dramatic results that may just shift the positions of teams on the table, especially the pursuit of UEFA Champions League football for next season. Paul Robinson, a sports fan who is definitely feeling fly at this point in time. Thank you so much for your time on the show.
Cheers. Thanks very much.
Okay, let's